What is up, everybody? That is the champ right there. UFC 307 on October 5th. It must sound good for Raquel Pennington. How many years in the UFC? 10 years in the UFC when she won that championship. Getting close to 11 right now as she gets ready to make her first title defense against Julianna Peña. How are you, Raquel? Thank you for joining me.
I'm great. I'm just hanging out today. Had training this morning, getting ready to doing a little bit of media obligations. And then after that, I'm headed back to the gym.
How must that feel for you after so long in this sport, so long in the UFC to hear there's the champ, right? I mean, that must be something every time. It never gets old, right?
No, it's crazy because it's like, my family, I've always been an athlete. My family has always called me champ. In high school, they would call me champ. And so like, it's not something that was foreign. I feel like it's something that we've just put in the universe all these years, but, to actually like hear it now. And it's like, yeah, like, dang, I'm actually the champ. And it's not like the champ of Colorado, the champ of like, you know what I mean? Like it's the world champion. I think the only thing to easily break it down and say is I am damn proud of myself.
Yeah, I can imagine, and rightly so. I want to check. This is interesting. You won 6 in a row, 7 out of 8. At one point, you were 9-7, and then 10-8. I got to imagine UFC is looking at you, going, I don't know here, right? What do you think? What do you attribute the turnaround to? Because it's pretty remarkable now. All of a sudden, what you've been doing.
It's just one of those things in our career. Like, this is when you talk about this sport and you're like, hey, like, for one, how much is this sport mental and physical? It's 90% mental, 10% physical. And then when you hear a lot of athletes say, and they're like, this is the highs and lowest the lows. It is. I've been an athlete since I was 5. I've played in multiple different sports and whatnot. And like this sport just brings something different to you. And a lot of those fights, I lost to a judge's decision, but it wasn't even like going out there and like, it wasn't even like I was like getting my ass kicked and all this stuff was happening. Like, it was one of those things that like I already beat myself before even stepping out in the octagon. Like, it goes so much further into it. And then, a big thing that I preach to like my athletes and that my boxing coach says all the time is like, just have fun. Like, it's so simple. Just have fun.
Right.
And that correlates to so much in life, right? Like, if you're not having fun, then like, is it truly worth it? Life is short. And like being a professional athlete, like this career is short. This opportunity is short. And I've had so many ups and downs in my career that like, there were so many different times I wasn't having fun. And so when I just stepped back and it was like, all right, like I asked myself, hey, like, what is the real reason I'm here? Why am I doing this? Why am I beating myself up? Like nobody's dragging me to the gym. There's days that I don't want to be there, but like, why am I doing that? So when I got in tune with myself in here, it played a big part. And now here's the difference.
Did you figure it out? Like, because, you said you were an athlete, right? You were always good at what you did, whatever you were doing at a given time. I would think, being on the world stage and being one of the best in the world at it would be something to be proud of and that you would love doing, right? When you said you had almost lost before you walked into the octagon, do you ever pinpoint exactly what it was and how difficult was it to change that and kind of turn back around?
There's a lot of things. It's not just even about being an athlete. Environment's important, real life. We're human beings. People forget that we're freaking human beings. And it's right. Like, there's so much that plays a part into it. And so it's like, you can go to the gym, you could take all your vitamins, you could do all the things, but if your head and your heart ain't right, it really does not matter. And there was multiple times that like, it really just didn't matter. Like real life was hitting me and it was just like, just like anything, like you try to find all of us as human beings, we're all guilty of avoidance at some point or another, or, just genuinely like stepping back and like paying attention to the things that truly matter. And there was multiple times that I was in that position, and it was just like, I came back from like layoffs. I came back from major surgeries. I came back with medical issues. Like it was just one beating after another. And my true fans out there who have actually followed my career and been able to like see everything and the things that I have shared, you're going to have the haters and they're like, oh, this chick sucks and she's full of excuses. Right. Or you're going to have the people that like have genuinely listened and like, I'm being vulnerable and I'm sharing my story. Right. There's people out there with similar stories and struggles and whatnot. And it's just, it's your environment. It's so many things that just like align and make things perfect in this situation. And sometimes just my ducks were not in a row. My stars were not aligned, or, you could talk to any athlete and like the injury bug is a real thing. And any fighter who actually goes into a fight, like 100% healthy, like that's very, very, very rare.
Right. train, right?
Very rare. And so like, you know, I mean, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. Like, it's been a lot of things I've added up. And so, you know, at some points you kind of forget. I forget all the things I've accomplished. Like, I forget the fact that I'm one of the first 10 women to ever sign with the UFC, that I've had a very successful career, that I've had opportunities. I've fought on some of these amazing, like, history cards, and like, I fought in the best of the best. Like, I hold a ton of records in the women's bantamweight division. Like, I have forgotten that. I will be the first and foremost to say, like, I have definitely forgotten that. And so to kind of just hit that reset button and look back and like remember those little things and what truly matters, and then just to dig deep, and it's like, okay, like, what really, like, what is the importance here, and why do you do this? And just hit that reset button. Like, there's a difference when you talk about it, and there's a difference when you do it. And so, you know, I mean, I went through a lot of heartache within the last 5 years of my life, and like, you know, a lot of relationships in my life had changed, boundaries, you know, just acknowledging things within myself, changing up coaches. Like, there's been a lot that's been going on. And ever since I started doing that, and then just the number one thing, having fun again, like truly hitting that reset button and having fun. I'm having fun.
Let's check this. You know, since you won the belt, you got that big stage now, right? Have you had anybody that you've been able to help that reached out to you and said, hey, you know, I was at a low point in my life and you're an inspiration? Or have you had any of those kind of interactions with people since you become the champion?
It's not even just becoming the world champion. Like, that's been one really cool thing with my career and whatnot. And like, you know, I always dreamed of being a professional athlete or a doctor, or, you know, I love people. I love helping people. And I always told myself that if I ever ended up on a big platform, like, I would utilize that and like try to leave my impact as far as influencing people and trying to make a difference. I've been an ambassador against bullying. I've done suicide prevention. Like, I've gone around and done a ton of guest speakings. I've done a bunch of things when it comes to mental health and women's struggles, just a ton of different things. And so, like, I don't know. It's one of those things of just like really utilizing my platform, and not even, okay, with becoming a world champion, of course you get more recognition and stuff, but like, I've already had a ton of people who have reached out and who, like, you know, I always say, like, I don't care about having 40 million fans on Instagram. If I have 40 true fans and whatnot, like, that's what matters most to me. And the people who, you know, they're struggling and they put themselves in a vulnerable place to like reach out and share their story. As much as my story might be inspiring, like, you're inspiring me just as much. And so I've had a ton of stories throughout my career. And now, I mean, yeah, sure, with being a world champion, like, a lot has changed and there's a little bit more there and on my plate and stuff. But like, you know, I mean, that part hasn't changed. Do I hear a lot more stories? Are there more opportunities to like be able to talk about things? Sure. And I'm just grateful for that.
Are you planning to write a book about your career and about the experiences you've had? You know, maybe not even so much about the fight, but like you just referenced, you know, all these amazing things that you've done for people, right? Is that something that you plan to chronicle and try to share with the world?
Yeah, it's funny because we've actually been talking about that lately, because, you know, I go around and I do a bunch of guest speakings, or I've interacted with people, and people are like, you really need to like share your story. There's so much more. And so that is, you know, I mean, the goalpost is constantly moving. I'm a goal-oriented person. I'm very ambitious. And so that's something that's on my list.
What do you make of the fight with Julianna? I mean, obviously, you know, there was two Juliannas, the one in the first Amanda fight and the one in the second Amanda fight, right? And you know what Amanda is all about. What do you make of her, and which one? I don't know if this is a fair question to ask, but is the real Julianna?
You know, I mean, at the end of the day, fighting's fighting. We're all human beings. Nobody's invincible here. So, you know, I mean, regardless of what the situation was in the first fight, like, it came down to it. It was Julianna's night. Like, it wasn't Amanda's night. And she obviously created a massive upset in UFC history with that. The baby's making noise in the background. And then, you know, I mean, the second fight, it turned into one of those things where it was like Amanda stated, hey, I'm going to go out there and like, I'm going to whoop her ass for 5 rounds and toy with her. And she did exactly what she was going to say. So, you know, I feel at the end of the day, like, I mean, we all know how great Amanda is. And I think that definitely showed in that second fight. So I think that was like the real version of Julianna or whatnot. But, you know, I mean, with that being said, in my own perspective, this is a history fight for us both. We were on The Ultimate Fighter. We were teammates. We were roommates. There's like a little bit of emotion going into this fight. It's a fight I've looked forward to for 11 years and stuff. And like, I'm just honestly excited to finally settle this and to actually have the opportunity to fight her and be able to punch her in the face and like go from there. I think as far as between her and I, like, I'm definitely the better fighter in every aspect.
You've been more active, which, I spoke to her earlier today, and I brought up her inactivity, and, she kind of explained that. But do you believe your activity and the fact that you have been going to the post on a regular basis, gives you any kind of an edge in the fight?
I mean, everybody's different. Some people like rest is good for them. Injuries suck. There's a ton of things. I know for me, like I personally, taking time off is hard. It's harder to get back out there. I'm out here, I'm on a stage, I do this, but like I have stage fright. Like I'm actually a very shy person. And so like going back out there and settling back into the nerves of a crowd and stuff, like that gets me, especially if I haven't done that in almost 2 years. Like that plays a part. Just going out there and trying to figure out how to feel those emotions again and whatnot. Some people truly thrive on it. It affects others. Like it all just depends. Sometimes ring rust is that real thing and sometimes it's not. So, I mean, I'm not going to speak on Julianna's behalf on that. Like, I mean, she can come out there and like have the best of the best, or like it's going to play a part on her. But at the end of the day, like I'm focused on the things that I can control. And I definitely feel like the better fighter going into this fight. And I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to just show the well-rounded fighter that I am. And then just have fun. You know what I mean? Like have fun, the fun that I've been having in this fight camp. Like I have yet to take the athlete from the gym into the octagon. And so that's been one of my biggest goals.
That's awesome. Now, when Ronda Rousey was the champion, she was known for the mean mug, right? When she walked to the ring, she had the look on her face, right? You're such a nice person, a friendly person, right? Is it hard for you to get the kind of that look on, or what is your tendency when you walk out?
I think for me, like I get into the zone and like most people, like it's funny because if my dimples are not shining, everybody's like, "Ooh, she's mad." But like, really, like I just get into my like own little zone. I'm out there. Sometimes my dimples come out. If I'm having fun, my dimples are always gonna be out. Other times it's just like, I don't know. Like I'm just like, I'm a vibe person. So, my music plays a part in everything. Like every little thing just lines up. But no, I don't feel the need to like go out there and mad dog anybody or do all this shit talking and all this other stuff, because at the end of the day, like the fight's gonna speak for itself. So sometimes, I mean, depending on like the crowd vibe, sometimes I'm out there just vibing with it. Other times I'm just like zoned in and like, hey, let's get there. It all just really depends.
Sure. Let's wrap with this. Another women's bantamweight fight on the card, Ketlen Vieira against Kayla Harrison. I think that one is probably the number one contender fight. So if you come through this, that's your next opponent. Give a quick breakdown on that, and how do you see that one going?
I'm honestly excited to watch that fight. I definitely agree with you. So for me, I didn't just prepare for Julianna. Like I know Kayla made the comment about being the backup fighter. And so this camp was about breaking 2 chicks down and just having that in mind. And I mean, that's just wanting to remain at the top and be the best of the best. And then of course, like, yeah, Kayla came in, she has a huge hype train. Like she's not far from being from a world title fight at all. But I think a lot of people, like, it's almost when Holly came in and she brought in this huge bandwagon. She had this name, everybody jumped on that train. And like, I mean, obviously she beat Ronda, but then she turned around and like, she got beat by Misha. Like, and so like, that's this career. It goes like this. And same thing, like a lot of people, Amanda left. It was like, Ronda was here, Ronda left. Oh, what are we going to do? Amanda came in and it was just like, nobody really gave her like the credit at first. And then all of a sudden now Amanda went on her reign and everybody loves Amanda. And then she left and was like, oh, the division sucks. We need to scrap it and whatnot. And like, they forget how much talent is truly in this division. And so, I mean, Kayla's now on a platform where she's fighting the best of the best. Like she's with the big dogs and there's a ton of talent. And, I mean, Ketlen is a good fighter. I mean, she's had her
2 black belts.
Yeah, she's had her ups and downs in her career. And on top of that, like, okay, Kayla's known for her judo, but Ketlen has a black belt in judo as well. So it's just like, quit taking away from it and whatnot. But at the end of the day, like, I've been underdog my entire career. So, as a fellow fighter and already fighting Ketlen, like, I'm rooting for the underdogs here. And I do truly believe that Ketlen can beat Kayla.
Interesting. Well, it's going to be fun. October 5th, I will be there in Salt Lake City. We'll see the champ make her first title defense, Raquel Pennington. Always good to talk to you, Raquel. Thank you so much, and congratulations on everything you've accomplished.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.
See you soon.
See ya.